am the manager of corporate volunteerism and engagement with United Way. And I have the pleasure of working with many of you and your organizations to really develop meaningful ways that you can positively impact and engage with your local community through volunteerism and through service. But the truth is, it doesn't stop there. Engaging your team members doesn't mean you're just offering them ways to make a financial donation, or you're just connecting them with ways to paint a room at a local nonprofit. It's really also about kind of cultivating this unique and safe space where team members can learn more about challenges facing their own community, struggles that their own neighbors or their own family members may be facing, and really start to talk, discuss, share, and advocate for the things that really matter. And that is a very unique position for all of you. There's a saying I have, a favorite saying that says to know better is to do better. And in order for us to do better, you really need to understand the where and the how and the why your action is going to make a difference. And United Way works really hard to put the pieces of that puzzle together so that every experience, every learning opportunity, every volunteer project has that bigger picture in mind. So we certainly want people to do, and we want them to take action, but we also want them to know why and why it's so important. And all of those things are really important for you too. We know that more engaged team members are more productive for you. They work harder, they stay at your organization longer, they step up and take on leadership roles when needed. So doing good and connecting team members to engagement and to volunteerism really just makes good business sense. And the last 2 years, organizations of all sizes are really working hard to figure out, what does that look like? How do we keep an engaged workforce, especially when our working environment is constantly changing? We're remote, we're hybrid, we're back in the office, we're a combination of all of those things. So I really want you to come into today's session just with an open mind. We are going to share a lot of different ideas, a lot of different opportunities, some tips, some tricks, but most importantly, we're going to share with you, ways that you can engage your team members this year and how we can help you so that the process is as easy as possible. So a few quick housekeeping items. Just wanted to share, if you haven't yet done so, please pop your name and your company into the chat box. We'd love to see who is here. At 2 points throughout the session, we're going to break up into small breakout rooms so you guys can learn from each other, share what's working, what you've tried. You all coming together sometimes generates the best ideas, so we want to give you space to do that. Turn on your camera if you feel comfortable, and we will just work through this presentation. It can be as interactive as possible too, so any questions, thoughts, comments, please pop those in the chat. We'll address them as we go through the program, but we'll also probably take the bulk of questions at the end of the session, but please don't be shy. So without further ado, we'll go to our first slide. Awesome. So I talked a little bit in the intro about why volunteerism makes good business sense, how people work harder, but I think also there are some very tangible benefits when it relates to today's unique climate. We've all been going through a very interesting last 2 years, and it's shaken a lot of things up and things look very different. So there are a number of benefits to sort of hosting these engagement experiences, learning opportunities, connecting your team members to community in traditional and sometimes non-traditional new ways, and how that really provides some interesting benefits for them. So if we look at these slides, preventing social isolation, just giving them additional focus, an opportunity to talk with one another, to feel like they're around the table again at your organization, contributing to community, improving that overall health and mental clarity. People feel good when they are given an opportunity to volunteer and to serve. And so if your organization is providing that for them, that is such a health and wellness benefit in addition to just a community benefit. And lastly, it's just building that increased sense of trust and strength in this very unpredictable time. Next slide. Awesome. So those that may not be as familiar with the work of United Way, how we connect you all to community is kind of housed in 4 different buckets. And these have shifted and changed for us even throughout the course of the pandemic. We really had to find new ways for people to do good things. And how could they do those good things safely while still impacting the community in a positive way? So these 4 buckets are really representative of that. What has grown tremendously is sort of our virtual and remote footprint. So what types of service activities can people do using their specialty skills, working with their family, doing it at home, opportunities for them to serve, but to do so safely from the comfort of their own home or desk. Kit packing at the workplace or remotely. This was our fastest growing form of volunteerism pre-pandemic. And we've figured out some really unique ways to still make this happen safely during COVID-19. We have a wonderful curbside caring effort where all of the kit supplies are pre-packaged into different boxes. You take the box home. There's materials for you to pack 10 to 15 kits. People could log on and be part of a session learning about why these kits matter. They pack it home with their loved ones or on their own and then return them for distribution. It's safe, it's efficient, and people feel really good using their hands. There is something about packing and contributing that just lights people up. So kit packing is definitely something that we see a big interest from local workplaces. We're still connecting you to the community. So while that looks very different, projects tend to be a lot smaller. There are not as many nonprofit organizations that are bringing in external volunteers, but we do have a pulse as to what organizations really still need volunteers to achieve their mission. And so we are connecting groups thoughtfully to those experiences if that's something you're interested in. And then lastly, we've all spent more time at home with our families than ever before. Good and sometimes hard, but something that has really come out of that is this desire and want to engage in service with your family, whatever that might look like. So how are we providing some kind of grassroots, very simple, very tangible ways that you can volunteer at home with the ones you love to significantly impact some of these challenges? So employee engagement plan, we do this for all different types of organizations. It's just a service that we provide to help you maximize your people power and how they can do the most good throughout our community. So we help you map out what it looks like, what it could look like, what are your needs, and how can we help you get there? So all of these plans have been very flexible, they're custom. Some organizations do 2 projects a year. Other organizations love to see an activity that they can offer monthly. It really just depends with where you're at and what's going to work for your team and really interest and engage your team members. So benefits, and we talked about this a little in the beginning, it's just great ways to engage team members that are going to resonate best with them. I think one of the best things about pulling together a plan and working with United Way is we take a lot of the legwork away from you, a lot of that tactical, mechanical, behind the scenes. How do I find the right activity? Who do I have to contact? How do I set something up? It feels like you're kind of on a wheel, and every time you finish an activity, the whole process begins again, and that can be very daunting, especially if many of you, this is just in addition to your day-to-day role. You may be doing this as a volunteer or as an extra. And so how can we make it easier, more simple, and certainly more fun? Because volunteering should be fun. So how can we take some of that burden off of you so that you can just work off of a plan that you know is all set up for the rest of the year, and all you have to do is rally your team members to participate. Next slide. Awesome. So I have done a lot of talking. It's been a lot of information. So now we would like to give you an opportunity to just break you up into smaller groups. There will be a United Way facilitator in each room to certainly just take some notes, help get the conversation going. But we really would love for you to just share with those in the rooms, you know, what have been your successes and challenges when it comes to volunteerism? And if you haven't even started yet, or it's been dormant because of COVID-19, we completely understand. But maybe just sharing, what's changed in the last few years that could impact your future plans. What does it look like right now? And what kind of resources and support are you hoping for to get it to a really good place this year? So sit tight. We are going to work our magic, knock on wood, and get you to a room, and then we can connect. And that'll be the next 10 minutes. And I'm going to pass over the baton to my amazing and new colleague, Sydney Redant, who's going to be working with many of you as well on all your volunteer needs this year.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Sydney Redant. I am newly with United Way in volunteer engagement. I originally started as a loaned executive, but I've been with in some United Way programs like Project Lead and had done volunteerism with United Way in the past. But I started as a loaned executive in August, and then was lucky enough to join the team full time. And I believe it was November. So I'm really excited to be here. I've had wonderful conversations already with some accounts that I've been working with, and I'm really just looking forward to building up volunteerism with all of you and continuing to engage your employees in the community to do good together. So that's me. I'm Sydney. Yeah. So I just want to kind of dive into what a plan can look like. Let's see here. So what does an employee engagement plan actually look like? Here's an example of one. It's kind of this really pretty template. As you can see, there's kind of 4 different categories, but know that this plan is just an example. If you want to do monthly engagement and have volunteer experiences each month, 1 to 2 per month, it can be built out many different ways. But basically, we just want a clean document for you to look at that looks easy and approachable, to know what's coming in the pipeline for the year. And included in that is the activity, perhaps how long it goes for, how many volunteers it can engage. And it's really just this collaborative document that how it starts out as we meet with you as a company or organization. We hear your needs and your interests as a group and what your employees are interested in. And then we build out this plan based off of your needs, and then go back and forth and build it out into this document that then has extra enhancements, things like that. For some examples of things that we've done in the past or might possibly be future opportunities are our Curbside Caring Community Flashcard Assembly. So for this, it's sponsored by Northwestern Mutual. For the past 2 years, we've been doing it in collaboration with them, but it basically is this kit packing opportunity that is hosted for the community, but also engages groups, community groups like you or organizations too. So 300 individual volunteers have participated in this in the past, and a handful of work teams have as well. People pick up these community flashcards from our location, take them home to pack with their families into different sets, and then we mobilize them across the community and distribute them to our community school partners. So over 20 community school partners have utilized these, and over 3,000 families, which is just really exciting to get these educational resources into their hands. Another opportunity could be to host a lunch, learn and do. We do have our own signature events for this. So it's a series of 4 different United Way hosted lunch, learn and do's available to the community. These are just infused learning and advocacy discussions that are very interactive. It's a virtual presentation for your employees to join, and then there's always a do component. But as you can see on this one, it's kind of reinvented. So we can personalize these experiences to you and your organization as well. If you have an interest in reducing barriers to employment and advancement specifically, we can pull our team together to host a virtual presentation specifically for you and your employees to learn more, and then possibly include a do component to that, whether that's kit packing or in the past. If you look here at the example for BMO, these team members talked, had this presentation, they played music, and then wrote short stories and poems for local youth. And that was their do component. Another example is a snack packing extravaganza, and more generally, just kit packing. On-site events like this and kit packing opportunities have always been very popular, but with COVID, we've had to flex. And a way that we have done that is by making them more remote. So families and your volunteers and your employees at your company can plug into these experiences by receiving shopping lists from us, and then going to the grocery store, purchasing these items, bringing them back home and kit packing them, and then bringing them to a United Way location or perhaps your workplace location for then us to distribute to these agencies. So snack packing is one example of it. It's very fun and family friendly as well. As you can see in this photo, there are all these bags are very cutely decorated, and notes of encouragement is also included. But snack packing is one example. There's also fight the flu kits, which is a big need too. Another, pantry staples and stuff like that. But another opportunity here is also a curbside carrying option too. So United Way can purchase materials and really just support you with all the logistical management too. So we can pre-bundle these kit supplies, and then your volunteers pick them up from United Way, and then they take them home, pack them, and then bring them back too. So that's another option. And we newly launched our community diaper bank. So this one's really, really exciting. A lot of momentum behind this, and really just a massive need for diapers in our communities. 1 in 3 families are unable to put their babies in diapers. So there's just really this massive need. And since April of 2021, we're so happy to report that all of us in the community have came together and really supported over 200,000 diapers just since April, which is really fantastic. And we know the need is there. But there is opportunities for supply collections through the diaper bank or Mary Lou's Closet to fill the needs of students in community schools too. But the really great thing about the supply drive collections is that it can really be done in person or remotely too. I've been working with an account to build this out both in person and remote, where you're able to share donation links and have kind of competitions amongst community members, or recruit physical donations in person too. Another way to build this one out, more exciting too, is to host a kind of like a baby shower and do potentially just a Jeopardy game and share the need with your volunteers as well, to just focus on the need in the community. And then my last example is really skills-based volunteerism too. So we host men's and women's job seminars. And if you find your employees are interested in more mentorship component of volunteering too, we can galvanize virtual resume and mock interview coaches. So we join on this virtual platform since the past couple of years have been virtual, but potentially for the future, maybe things can be in person, and volunteers can then support our attendees and help them build out their resume and give them the resources they need to be successful in the community as well. So those are just a few examples, but employee engagement plans are very versatile, and it's really just us building these out together with all of you, just so we can get people in the community to do good. I'll send it back over to Carissa.
Awesome. Thanks, Sydney. And I appreciate you sharing some of those really tangible examples, because sometimes I think it's nice for us all to just see and picture and imagine what some of these activities could look like, really having a pulse as to what may or may not work for your organization and your team members, depending on how you're set up. I've been pitching it like it's a menu, or it's definitely a salad bar. There are lots of different options. And so the beauty of United Way is we can pull and provide for you so many options so that you can really pick and choose what makes sense. A lot of organizations I work with, the plan looks different each time. Maybe one quarter we're doing a virtual activity. The next quarter we're going to go and do some community gardening because it's nice outside. The next quarter, They're going to promote an opportunity to do resume reviews for one of our job seminars. And at the end of the year, they're going to do a collection for winter care items to support local students who need some of those like basic winter staples, hats, gloves, mittens. So it can be as involved or as low touch as you think makes sense, but think of it like a salad bar and you get to pick and choose what it looks like. And we are just here to provide you the options and to steer you in the right direction so that you're spending all this time and energy into what's going to make the biggest difference for our community, because at the heart of it, that's what's really important. So I know this is a lot of information. If you are feeling overwhelmed and not sure where to start, we have some great, easy takeaway tips for how you can get this started. New year, there's always a lot of good momentum. Number one, and during my breakout session, several of you shared this, you're already surveying your employees. So whether you do an annual HR sort of survey to get a pulse on your workforce, or there's an opportunity at an upcoming team meeting or something else that you're sending out organization-wide, consider asking just a few community engagement, volunteer related questions. We have a sample of, I'd say, 7 to 10 different questions that you could ask that would yield you some really good information to better understand how often do my employees want to volunteer? Do they want to volunteer? What do they want to volunteer for? What should it look like? When should it be happening? What are the best times? Because again, we want you to be curating and building things that are going to be really successful for you and successful for the community. So surveying is such a good way to just get that baseline of where people are at and what they care about. Find a key champion. Sometimes if you're medium-sized to larger size organizations, having a champion in each department, bringing together a small volunteer committee that's at least going to weigh in insights and perspective from each of those different departments. Form that small committee to take action. Of course, get leadership buy-in, whether you are a small family-owned business up to a very large corporation. Having that leadership buy-in and support can be everything. So we have lots of tools on our end to arm you with data, stats, how this makes sense for your organization, best case studies, best practices. We want to give you the tools so that if you need to go back to your organization and make this case of why this is good and why this makes sense, we can give you all of that to help you do that. And then like anything, especially if this is all new to you, starting small. Sometimes I think we all get very, very excited because it's such a positive thing doing good for the community that we want to do an event every single month and we want to have 2 different activities every month and we're going to fill it with 20 volunteers each time. And those are lofty, ambitious, and wonderful goals, but starting small, celebrating those easy wins, and ultimately doing what's going to work for your organization. And sometimes that is a little trial and error. You may not be sure, and that's okay. And that's why we're here to support you in offering a variety of different options that you can kind of choose on, try on for size. And lastly, reach out to us. We do this every day. This is our job. We have lots of experiences working with all different industries, all different size companies. We can share with you what's worked and what hasn't. And we're really here to just listen to you and support you so that you can make this journey a little bit easier on yourselves. Awesome. So what additional resources do we all have that we can provide to you? We have an amazing newly curated year-round engagement webpage, which we will pop in the chat box and we'll also send to you an email post this session. But it has some really nice information on what are the benefits to a plan, why does it make sense, some of those great data points, has some amazing testimonials from other organizations that have partnered with us to pull together different options throughout the year. We also have, as Sydney shared, project toolkits, shopping lists, really great FAQs so that as you're pulling a project together, there's an immediate place where you can go to get answers on some of those common questions. You know exactly what kind of things you're collecting, you know the best ways to do it. We want to arm you with as much support and helpful guidance as possible so that you shine when you do these activities. We're talking more about connecting all of you. During my breakout session, it was so wonderful to hear you all talking and asking each other questions. And I don't know if there's always a space for you all to gather and do that. And I think some of the best ideas come from that kind of peer-to-peer connection. You're all colleagues working to do similar things, yet at very different organizations, but an opportunity for you to really connect, and United Way provide that space on more of a biannual basis. So maybe we can do this all again in the fall and hear all about the good things you've done and what you're looking to do as we head into the end of the year. And then, of course, personalized attention. So many of you run campaigns. You work very closely with someone on our resource development team and a loaned executive. Same is true with volunteer engagement. Each of our companies are assigned an account manager who really talks and lives and breathes everything volunteer for you. So we are like an advisor or a consultant for you that is here anytime to ask questions and, again, to help make the process easier. So I want to pause. I haven't looked in the chat. Sydney, are there any glaring questions that we could address now? Otherwise, I want to get us all chatting and connecting again.
Yeah, no glaring questions in the chat. So I'm happy to launch you all into breakout sessions again.
Perfect. So this time, if you want to pick up where you left off because you got cut off last time, that's fine. Otherwise, would love for you to kind of think through of what we shared and some different ideas. What is like a next action step that you're going to take? And, what kind of pain points or support could we provide to help, again, make it easy for you to do good? So we'll see you all back here shortly. Yes, just of course, wanted to say thank you so much to all of you for spending a little bit of your afternoon and learning more and asking questions. Certainly, we didn't see any glaring in the chat, but if anyone has any questions, we have a couple minutes left. You're welcome to unmute or to pop it in the chat, but we'll give a few moments so that we can address any questions. Don't be shy.
One question that I have that came out in our smaller group, I'm Kelsey, I'm from the Medical College of Wisconsin, and right now we're exploring platforms to organize our volunteer opportunities. So I've heard from a couple people, but if anybody could just shoot in the chat what platforms you're using, I would much appreciate that as we explore some options. Or unmute and let me know. Thank you.
Yes, please feel free to share. Some individuals in our group said they're using Your Cause. Yep, a few others of you. I know there's Benevity. There's a relatively small number of systems that are out there, but of those that are, it seems like they're working really well for different organizations. Any other questions? Well, again, we so appreciate you. I'm going to pop up just 3 poll questions because part of these sessions, we always want to make sure we are sharing information that is relative to your work, that we are helpful, that we are using your time wisely. So if you could just give us a little bit of feedback, I'm going to invite Sid to pop that up. So you're going to just work your way through. There's 3 questions. Scale from 1 to 5. How likely are you to reach out to United Way to learn more and to start planning and to let us help and support you? Again, that is why we are here. We'd love to work with you to do more good in 2022. Number 2, did you hear about a particular strategy or project idea or just a tip that you are going to take back to your organization this year? We love idea sharing. We love brainstorming. Hoping you found some nuggets or a nugget that you can take back. And then lastly, did you find this session helpful? Again, we want to build out learning opportunities that use your time wisely, connect you with others, and also connect you with United Way and the community. So thank you for sharing. Give you just a few more moments. I know some people are still taking. I'm so glad. This is making me so happy to see these results. We cannot wait to hear from so many of you and help map out the year ahead. And so glad so many of you got a few ideas or an idea to take back. That's everything. Wonderful. I'm going to end that. And just want to wrap it up on behalf of Sydney and Jane and the rest of United Way. We are just so grateful to be partnered with you. We appreciate your work and we look forward to connecting with you very soon. So stay tuned. Thanks again.